That ended Fresno State's 14-game winning streak. That 14-yard touchdown right there was a touchdown from Andrew Peasley to Wyatt Wheeland, made it 10-0 Wyoming in the second quarter. Fresno State with the ball now down by 10, 3rd and 6. Mikey Keene to Jalen Moss, and Moss does the rest, turns it into a 50-yard gain, the 3rd longest play on offense for the Bulldogs this season. He gets to the Cowboys' 10-yard line. A few plays later, he gets the touchdown from 6 yards out, his 4th touchdown this season. That makes it a 10-7 game. But Wyoming comes right back, an 8-play, 75-yard drive that ends with Peasley to Wheeland again in the end zone. Now it's 17-7, and it would be 24-7 at halftime. Third quarter, a 39-yard field goal from Dylan Lynch makes it 24-10. Fourth quarter now, Bulldogs with the ball on the Cowboys' 7. Mikey Keene sacked for a loss of 13. That's the play where he gets injured. Fresno State would kick a field goal, so now it's 24-13, and there are 8.5 minutes left in the game at this point. On the kickoff, it's an onside kick, recovered by the Bulldogs. And with Mikey Keene injured, Logan Fife in at quarterback. He leads a 7-play, 48-yard drive that ends with this 8-yard touchdown to Mac Delana. 8 catches, 90 yards in the game for Delana. Bulldogs go for 2. They don't get it, so it's 24-19. Wyoming misses a field goal on its possession, so Fresno State gets the ball, just under 2 minutes left, down by 5 with a chance to win. On the 6th play of the drive, Fife's pass tipped and then picked off by a nose tackle. That's the game. Wyoming holds on 24-19. After the game, head coach Jeff Tedford was quoted as saying, "There was a lot of effort in the second half, but we didn't play our best. I take my hat off to Wyoming. They threw it and they ran it. They did a nice job. They had a big play there at the end." A few notes after last night's game. The previous 2 times Fresno State played Wyoming, the Bulldogs shut out the Cowboys. 30-0 last year, 17-0 in 2021. So this was the first time Wyoming scored points against Fresno State since 2017. Obviously, the Cowboys won, and that win ended the Bulldogs' 14-game winning streak dating back to last season. It was the 2nd longest winning streak in the FBS. Fresno State was held to just 324 total yards of offense, more than 100 yards below its season average. Time now for our Ultimate Insider, brought to you by FFB Bank. We're pleased to be joined by Marcus McMaryion, Dinuba native and Fresno State quarterback in 2017 and 2018. Marcus, at this time, we do not have an update on the status of Mikey Keene, so I won't ask you about the severity of his injury or how long you think he'll be out, but I will ask you this. How do you think the team played with Keene at quarterback yesterday versus when Logan Fife came into the game?
I thought they did an excellent job when Logan came in. I think he did a really good job commanding the offense. Obviously, it's super unfortunate the way it ended, him throwing the pick at the end. But, I mean, we wouldn't have even been in the position to win the game if he didn't make that nice scramble and touchdown pass to Mac Delana in the corner of the end zone. So I think overall he played pretty well. And, I mean, just tip my hat to him, backup quarterback. I've been in that position before. It's one of the toughest positions in the game of football.
Yeah, Logan Fife came in with a lot of pressure on him. The Bulldogs were on the doorstep of scoring a touchdown. It was 4th down. They decided to kick that field goal. We talked last week about the need to throw the ball away at times. Coach Tedford talked about it first after the Nevada game. Before Mikey Keene got hurt yesterday, was he doing a better job of doing that than in the previous game?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think he was just really controlling the offense as far as just putting them in a position. I know the announcer once or twice had mentioned, like, oh, maybe he could extend the play, run a little bit longer, do things. But I think it's the veteran decision to kind of throw the ball away and kind of live to play another down. It was unfortunate, the play that he did end up getting injured on. He was kind of scrambling around a little bit and led to his injury. So hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, we should get an update from Jeff Tedford tomorrow. We do know that he was on the sidelines, so he didn't have to leave the physical stadium. He wasn't back in the locker room. He stayed on the sideline to cheer on the Bulldogs. Now, Fresno State players had a few drops early in the game, Marcus. Couple of, Jalen Gill, Eric Brooks there. We're not used to seeing that. Why do you think that was the case?
Yeah, I mean, drops are a part of the game for sure. I mean, they're definitely the biggest thing, though, is they're just such, momentum killers and drive killers to where you're trying to stay ahead of the change, and drops kind of just reset everything to where those are difficult to kind of accept sometimes, just because as a play caller, as offense, everything worked, everything was good. It's just the small part as far as catching the ball and kind of making the play, executing on that end.
So the quarterback for Wyoming, his name is Andrew Peasley. He seemingly had all day to throw. Where was the Fresno State pass rush?
Yeah, that's a good question. He was sitting back there. And I know Wyoming, I mean, year in and year out, they kind of pride themselves in having a really strong offensive line. And I think that was a good showing. And I think maybe we didn't dial up a ton of pressure. They did a really good job of picking up the pressure. Who knows? I know that they're watching the tape now, and I know they're getting ready and learning from it and trying to move on with the short week this week.
Wyoming also had drives, Marcus, that were extended because of penalties. Fresno State has been a pretty disciplined team this season. Did 8 penalties for 93 yards surprise you?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think the penalties were a big reason why Wyoming scored so many times. A lot of them came at costly times and third down to where they could have potentially punted, and just in general, too. I mean, you're talking these penalties, a defense that's given up 19 points in the last 3 games. I mean, they gave up 21 in 1 quarter. So, I mean, I could guarantee the entire team was kind of in shock just at that stat alone. So we're kind of puts you in an uncomfortable situation sometimes as a team that's difficult to overcome.
Here's another stat for you. Just 38 yards net for Fresno State's run game. It really struggled yesterday. The previous week, New Mexico ran for 225 yards against the Cowboys. Should the coaching staff be concerned about that?
Yeah, it's something. I'm sure they saw that as a whole. Like you said, I mean, a team that rushes for over 200 yards going into the week, you're probably hoping that's something that you could kind of lean on a bit. And I'm sure Mikey, when he was playing, was maybe hoping the run game was going to kind of take a little pressure off of him a little bit. And that wasn't the case for whatever reason, to where I'm sure they leaned on him in the passing game a little bit more than they wanted to and they initially planned.
So the fans are pretty vocal today, as you might expect. They were last night as well. Big picture, the Bulldogs can still make it to the Mountain West Championship game, though it'll be much tougher now to host that game. How does the team use this loss as motivation? How did you use losses as motivation in 2017 and in 2018?
Yeah, they're going to have to. I think you don't always want a learning or a test to kind of come out in this way as being a loss and kind of marking it that way. But they're going to have to use it as motivation. And I think the biggest thing for everyone is just to kind of take a deep breath and realize we have everything we want in front of us still. And not only that, we lost to a really good Wyoming team that went to the end of the third quarter 10-10 with the University of Texas in a hostile environment. That was a top 5 team in the country. So, I mean, we didn't lose to a random team. We lost to a really good Wyoming team.
Yeah, Wyoming is very good, Marcus. 5-1. The only loss, as you mentioned, was to Texas, with wins over Texas Tech and now Fresno State. Should Wyoming be ranked right now?
Yeah, I think they've earned it. Like you said, I mean, just their resume and their work that they've put together this year, I mean, they've earned it. And do I think they were the better team than us? No. Were they better than us the other night? Yeah, they were 100%. We had a couple errant penalties, and they made some big plays, and we didn't make big plays, and that's the game of football, and it happens like that sometimes.
Last question for you, Marcus. You touched upon it earlier. It's a short week for the Bulldogs. Utah State is next on the road on Friday. The Aggies are coming off a win over Colorado State yesterday, and they had not 1, not 2, but 3 wide receivers who each had more than 100 yards. They also had a 100-yard rusher. How does Fresno State stop an offense like that?
Yeah, they're explosive. You try your best, honestly. Kind of looking them up a little bit. I mean, they had one game where they scored 78, and I think Utah State's the same way. They're thinking in their locker room and talking, why aren't they ranked in the top 25 as well? I mean, they have losses to 25th ranked Iowa and 2 other teams in James Madison, and I believe Air Force, who are undefeated teams as well, to where the Dogs, we're going to have our hands full again this week. It should be a good one.
We'll see what happens on Friday, and then we'll talk to this guy, Marcus, on Sunday. He's Marcus McMarion, former Fresno State quarterback, Dinuba native. We appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you again next week.
Always. Thanks, Andrew.
You bet. Up next on the Bulldog Insider, Cameron Braca. He's in his first year as a Bulldog, and he's making an impact. Scott Bemis has his story. Next.
One of the great things about being the largest locally owned furniture store in the Valley is you often get first choice on manufacturer closeouts. Like this limited time offer from Southern Motion. 2 different rocker recliners, one in 4 colors, another in 2 colors, with over 70 to choose from, each priced at 30% below the normal retail value. $4.99 at Fashion Furniture, while they last, on El Paso, across from River Park.
Welcome aboard. Jets Plus private charter service spans the globe and ensures top quality customer service every time. Business or pleasure, choose to fly the very best. Book Jets Plus today and welcome aboard.
Get home field advantage with the Xfinity 10G network. It's the fastest internet with ultra-low lag. Plus, game-changing upload speeds. And a strong, reliable connection for when your entire squad is online. So you can complete play after play, even during peak hours. With internet this powerful, you can tackle anything. The Xfinity 10G network. The future starts now.
The secret to me and Ed's, it's these guys right here, the fire brick oven. The bricks in here, they've been seasoned for decades, not years, decades. And that's what gives it that great taste and crunch.
Visualization is key in the banking world.
Let's go. Game day.
He treats every day like game day. You know why? Because it is.
You can bank on that, baby. Woo!
I just hope it rubs off on the rest of the team. Man, we're going to have magic around here.
KC 24 News is brought to you in part by Jackson Jewelers.
Back here on the Bulldog Insider, Cameron Braca had 6 tackles for the Bulldogs last night. That tied for 3rd most on the team. And it came off a breakout performance the previous week against Nevada. Cameron Braca is in his 1st year as a Bulldog, transferring to Fresno State from Fresno City College. Scott Bemis talked with him about his journey and his impact.
Last week against Nevada, Cameron Braca got to live out a childhood dream as he made his first career start as a Bulldog.
I mean, you can't really explain that feeling. It was pretty surreal. It all felt like a blur.
And Cameron, who says he's always bled red as the son of a couple Bulldog alums, made the most of his opportunity, finishing with 6 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and a pass deflection in the backfield.
There were definitely nerves with it. I was like, man, here we go. But I felt ready. I felt comfortable, and that's what my teammates really solidified their trust in me.
Quite the story when you consider Cameron wasn't even completely sure he wanted to continue playing football coming out of Buchanan High School in Clovis. But after deciding to give Fresno City a shot with some other high school teammates, he blossomed into a junior college star as he was named as conference's Defensive Player of the Year last year as a sophomore with the Rams. Despite that, though, this undersized safety still didn't have much interest from the FBS level.
I kind of had only a few FCS offers and then some D2, and it was kind of starting to slowly get rolling. But I wanted to be somewhere in the spring where I could kind of get started and really start making an impact. That was the goal.
Enter the Bulldogs, who offered Braca a spot as a preferred walk-on before last spring, and Cam accepted. Now, I got to see you up close and personal as the radio voice for Fresno City College football, the last couple seasons. And what's it like as a junior college player coming in? Is there that chip on your shoulder? I mean, do you feel like you have to work a little harder? I mean, you came in as a preferred walk-on here over at Fresno State.
Yeah, you definitely come in with a chip on your shoulder. But there's also, I think a lot of gratitude that comes with coming from the JUCO to here, because you really are slim pickings over there. I still think about how I came out of high school and nobody wanted me, and then I really came out of JUCO and nobody wanted me. And so I took that approach every day. I worked my butt off here.
Plays so hard, and he cares a lot. He works really hard at practice, and he's getting more comfortable each and every week.
Very intense, strong. He's got good speed. He's a good blitzer, and he's got a feel for the game.
This program's super special, and everyone here works hard, and I'm just glad I chose the right place, the place that does it the right way.
All right, that's Cameron Braca from Fresno City College to Fresno State football. He's making some plays now for the Bulldogs.
Time now for On the Turf, brought to you by California Turf and Landscaping. Bulldogs in the NFL. Derek Carr was questionable heading into today's game between the Saints and Patriots. He played, and he played well. 2 touchdown passes for the ex-Bulldog, a 5-yarder to Chris Olave in the second quarter, a shovel pass to Foster Moreau in the fourth quarter. That's a 6-yard touchdown. Saints win big, 34-0. They're 3-2.
It all works together, and this is the ultimate team game. And so if I can do my job, it helps AK. If AK does his job, it helps us. If the line does their, it all is moving and working together all the time.
Devontae Adams plays tomorrow night. Raiders-Packers is the Monday night game this week. 49ers-Cowboys was the Sunday night game, right here on Ksee 24. The 49ers won. In the loss, Deron Bland had 4 tackles and a pass deflection for the Cowboys. The numbers for Derek Carr, 18 of 26 for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 carries for 4 yards, which was 4 times the amount of yards for Ronnie Rivers. The Rams gave him the ball 1 time for 1 yard in their loss to the Eagles. Up next on the Bulldog Insider, what happened on this day in Bulldog history? That's next.
When it comes to power lift recliners of every size and look imaginable, the one place you'll find more selection than anywhere else is right here at Fashion Furniture. There's a whole section. Simple power recliners in 100 different colors and fabrics to double reclining leather love seats with a console in between. You'll love the selection of power lift recliners in every price range at Fashion Furniture on El Paso across from River Park. There's nothing like it in all of California.
When foot pain is breaking your heart, a mother's story.
My foot pain got really bad after I had my son. I didn't have any energy left to play with him.
She tried various tricks and treatments.
A lot of those disposable throwaway inserts.
Nothing worked, till she got fitted for Good Feet arch supports.
I could feel like something was happening.
Something good.
It's been a life changer.
For Elisa and her now not-so-baby boy.
See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Right now is when it matters the most. We've given our blood before, so let's get out there and do it one more time.
If everyone who gives blood donated just one more time per year, there would always be a ready supply for every need, including your team.
Hey, where's Coach? Coach, where's your team?
Jimmy. Delay of game.
Carl's Jr.'s new Big Char Chili Burger is big on charbroiled flavor, big on smoky sweet heat with a whole charred Anaheim chili, and big on savings with a Big Char Chili Combo for just $7.99.
Get rid of that stubborn belly fat and get the body you've dreamed of. Maj Medical Clinic introduces high-definition Lipo 360 together with skin tightening to achieve ultimate body sculpting results. Do a little something for you. Call Maj Medical today.
KFC's popular 10-piece bucket is back in just $15.99. Speaking of popular, when you pick up 10 KFC drumsticks and thighs, you might have a lot more friends. Or should we call them taste buds? The 10-piece bucket, just $15.99, only at KFC.
Carl's Jr.'s new Big Char Chili Burger is big on charbroiled flavor, big on smoky sweet heat with a whole charred Anaheim chili, and big on savings with a Big Char Chili Combo for just $7.99.
Ksee 24 News is brought to you by San Joaquin College of Law.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider. The Fresno State football team is no longer nationally ranked, but the Bulldogs were for a couple of weeks. That's what happens when you start the year undefeated. Back in 2001, the Bulldogs were ranked in early September. By early October, they achieved their highest ranking ever, and they officially became a top 10 team in both major polls on this day in Bulldog history. Brought to you by Precision Civil Engineering. The date was October 8th, 2001. It was a Monday, and the day that week's Top 25 Coaches poll was released. Fresno State was 10th, moving up one spot from 11th the previous week, despite having a bye. Poll was released one day earlier, and the Bulldogs moved up from 10th to 8th in that poll. the highest they have ever been ranked. Fresno State was 5-0, with wins over Colorado, 10th-ranked Oregon State, and 23rd-ranked Wisconsin begin the year, followed by conference wins over Tulsa and Louisiana Tech. Prior to 2001, the last time Fresno State was a top 25 team was in 1993. The week after being ranked 8th in the AP poll and 10th in the coaches poll, Fresno State traveled to Colorado State. The Bulldogs beat the Rams in overtime, 25-22, so they were 6-0. They stayed ranked 8th in the AP poll and 10th in the coaches poll after that win. We'll be right back.
Home office. It started a few years ago at the kitchen table. Then many of us turned our third bedrooms into functional workspace with every kind of technology imaginable. The home office selection at Fresno's Fashion Furniture, including the most beautiful desks, chairs, file cabinets, and accessories available. Check out the home office selection at Fresno's Fashion Furniture. There's nothing like it in all of California.
The thing about FFB Bank is...
One round. Okay. Okay.
All right. See how this goes.
Got it. Man, that guy throws hard.
At Valley Remnants and Rolls, you'll find an impressive selection of beautiful new carpet from all the major mills. But VRR is more than carpet. It's hardwood, all kinds of laminate, the new VRR luxury vinyl, and half-price room-size remnants every day. Plus area rugs, and now concrete coatings for indoor and outdoor applications with store-wide everyday discounts of 20 to 50%. Why not make it new again at VRR Flooring, Valley Remnants and Rolls.
Now through October 13th, you can join Planet Fitness for just $1 down, $10 a month. With free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, it's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, October 13th.
Quesadillas, only at El Pollo Loco.
At California Turf and Landscaping, we know the picture of your yard says 1,000 words. Our team has years of experience in design and installation of synthetic grass, drought-tolerant landscaping, irrigation, hardscape, and all things for outdoor living. California Turf and Landscaping takes water conservation to a new level, mixing beauty and functionality. We work with you to create your vision.
California Turf and Landscaping, commercial and residential.
The complete package for all your landscaping needs.
The new summer family meal, starting at $24, only at El Pollo Loco.
Be fast when you notice any signs of a stroke and call 911 for help.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider. Time now for our play of the week. It's brought to you by the Good Feet Store. And for that, we go back to yesterday. Bellator 300 in San Diego. Josh Hokett made his MMA debut, and he did so with a win. An arm triangle submission in the third round for the ex-Fresno State football player and All-American wrestler.
I have high expectations for myself, so I'm a little disappointed I didn't get him out of there faster. But I just want to thank my coaches and my family for all the support and everybody that was that tuned in and watched me. I couldn't have done it without you guys.
Our tweet of the week brought to you by Nissan, also from yesterday, from Bryson Donaldson, running back at Central Valley Christian in Visalia. At the end of the game yesterday, he posted on X that he is committed to Fresno State. Donaldson holds several Division I offers. He's a 3-star recruit, according to the website 247sports.com. We'll be right back.
One of the great things about being the largest locally owned furniture store in the Valley is you often get first choice on manufacturer closeouts, like this limited time offer from Southern Motion, 2 different rocker recliners, one in 4 colors, another in 2 colors, with over 70 to choose from, each priced at 30% below the normal retail value. $4.99 at Fashion Furniture, while they last, on El Paso, across from River Park.
Is it possible my network could take my business to the next level?
It is with Comcast Business, powering all your devices with gig speed Wi-Fi. And you get fast downloads and uploads.
Pick it up, pick it up!
Oh, we got this, because it's powered by the next generation 10G network. More speed for your business? 46. It's not just possible. Cool. It's happening.
Get started for $59.99 a month for 12 months. Plus, ask how to get an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet bundle. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Medicare benefits, Medicare supplemental plans or Advantage plans, Medicare prescription drug plans. How are you supposed to understand it all? At Valley Caregiver Resource Center, we know Medicare can be confusing. That's why we offer HICAP, the Health Insurance Counseling and Advocacy Program. With open enrollment beginning October 15th, our HICAP counselors will help you understand your options, and assistance is free, objective, and confidential. Call Valley Caregiver Resource Center now to make your appointment with our trained experts. We're here to help.
This Hispanic Heritage Month, we applaud a Broadway icon.
Hi, it's Lin Miranda.
Musical theater fascinated him.
I mean, it's just like...
But its lack of diversity jaded him. That all changed after he saw Red.
That's the show that made me feel like I could write a musical.
Now, he's Broadway's golden boy and continues to challenge Latino stereotypes.
My whole world has sort of become about it.
Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thursday at 5 on KC24, sponsored by BD&J Personal Injury Lawyers.
There are terrific stories highlighting education across the Valley.
Stories of remarkable students and teachers, innovative programs, and curriculum.
Dedicated to improving our communities.
The Fresno County Superintendent of Schools and KC24 are committed to sharing these achievements.
Through stories that focus on educational excellence in our community.
Education Matters, Mondays at 6:30 on KC24, local news that matters.
Made possible by EECU, Fresno State, and Chevron.
KC24 News is brought to you in part by Nissan.
A reminder, you can always watch segments from the show online at yourcentralvalley.com. Whether you missed them the first time or like them so much you want to watch them again, the website is yourcentralvalley.com. That's it for us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Sunday. Good night.
We do a lot here.
A little bit of this,
And a whole lot of that.
and after more than 20 years in the Valley,
We ain't slowing down.
it's something else when you can say, we did that. But it's something else entirely when you mean,
We did that.
So here's to many more, and continuing to say proudly, we did that. We have the following openings available. Contact us today.
KFC's popular 10-piece bucket is back in just $15.99. Speaking of popular, when you pick up 10 KFC drumsticks and thighs, you might have a lot more friends. Or should we call them taste buds? The 10-piece bucket, just $15.99, only at KFC.
Are you a college graduate but don't know what career to choose? Become an attorney. Join our information session. Register today at info.sjcl.edu. San Joaquin College of Law. 1 degree, a world of options.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm here to remind you that if you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, we have legal professionals standing by to tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Spokesman Tom Mustin is with us in the Help Center. So, Tom, tell the viewers at home why they should call in.
Well, Gina, they should call because we have live agents available for you right now. If someone's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth.
Investigations, exclusive interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage of the nation's top stories. Watch Inside Edition weeknights at 7 on KC24.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you or someone you know were injured in an accident,